back at Haas Pavilion in Berkeley, along with Lisa Sharpley. Roxy Bernstein as Cal and Oregon State have split the first two games here tonight. Oregon State taking the opener. Cal game two as you look at the stats so far tonight. And Oregon State in California. And that second game, boy, Mia Yurkov really took that one over.
She really did, with 12 kills out of 17 attempts. I mean, she was the go-to girl for Cal. And the entire team actually stepped it up percentage-wise at hitting .412. Oregon State, on the other hand, hit .324, and typically you can win games hitting .324 in the Pac-10, but not when the other team is as hot as Cal was.
As you look at Yurkov right there, with 12 of her 18 kills coming in game two, she was 12 for 17 in that second game, hitting at .417 for tonight, and she will serve to lead off game three. 1-1. Yurkov the jump serve. She has two service winners so far tonight. Allison Lawrence off the block, out of bounds, her 10th kill to lead Oregon State and the Beavers, who took game one, strike first here in game three.
Another stat that stood out to me was the blocking ratio. Cal with 3 blocks, Oregon State with 2. You would expect Cal to be way up in the blocking category.
And there's another block, Caitlin Healy, sophomore from Central Catholic High School in Portland for Oregon State.
Oregon State not known for their blocking. I think they're towards the bottom in the Pac-10 in blocking, but they can step it up and really make some key blocks tonight. Make all the difference.
There's the kill from Gabrielle Abernathy, the set from Samantha Carter, and it's 2-1. Favor of Oregon State. Look how high Abernathy got up here.
And she has such a pure arm swing. She comes all the way back with her elbows high, is able to just snap her wrist so hard, causing the topspin ball to go straight down.
There's the set from Collins, the block off the kill attempt from Wendell, and the Bears draw even here in game three. Powers and Brown over there for the Golden Bears.
And I think that was actually Abernathy that got the huge step. She's really penetrating over, thinking about where that hitter wants to go.
There's the set from Collins. Cross court, Watts Roberts off the net, Oregon State back in front.
One thing I like about the Cal defense is that their left fronts are really involved in defending against the opposite side's left side hitters. They rotate deeper, ready to get that cross-court hit, but what they haven't been able to handle tonight has been the sharp cross-court, whether it be off-speed or off the block. Really struggled to pick those up.
Yurkov just gliding toward the net, sends it over. Another kill for Mia. We're tied at 3 here in game 3. This is Jenna Brown serving, played by Lawrence. Collins the set, and Amanda Eggert for Oregon State. 4-3 Beavers. Their 6th kill.
That's a play we really haven't seen the Beavers do much tonight. The back one, it's a quick set right behind the setter. You see Cal's middle blocker stepped in front thinking a front one was coming. She's caught by surprise and Eggert gets a kill.
And the service ace from Ann Watts Roberts. 2 in a row for Oregon State.
And that's just miscommunication on Cal's part. That wasn't an overpowering serve in any way.
That's one of those, you got it, you got it. No, you got it.
Exactly. They need someone to step up as the ball's crossing the net and say, mine. Call it early, make sure everyone understands what's going on.
5-4 Oregon State. Here is Abernathy's jump serve. Some power behind it. Here's the set, cross court goes Healy. Dig from Cal. Abernathy creeps up, just gets too much of it. And she misses deep, and it's 6-4 Oregon State.
And you like to see the aggressive swing, because a lot of times you can get some hands on those balls and they just ricochet out of bounds, but that time she just went over the block too far.
Healy the serve, Carter the set. Here comes Yurkov off the block, played by Yurkov. At the net, Carter keeps it alive. Davis over toward the back corner, the dive attempt from Turner. Powers, Brown sends it over for Cal. Frederick, the set for Carter. Lawrence off the block for Oregon State.
It's a great play. The middle blocker, Eggert, had the blockers moving towards the back side of the court. Laura Collins makes a great decision at the last second to flip it out in front. Little 32 play, which is kind of like a high 3 set.
Off the block, out of bounds for Cal. And it's 7-5 Oregon State. This will be Alicia Powers to serve from Carondelet High School out here in the East Bay. Here's the set from Collins. Sent over from Watts-Roberts. Carter setting up Yurko. That set was behind her. She had to adjust. And now Oregon State. An error on their side. Cal within one.
You watch Rhodes, or actually Ann Watts-Roberts, looks up, kind of loses it in the light. There's some really bright lights here in Haas Pavilion, and I think she just lost track of that ball.
It's just like an outfielder in baseball. He's taking his eye off the ball, checking to see around him, and then once you take your eye off, you lose it, total concentration. That's something you just can't afford to do.
Yeah,
Carter, the set for Yurko. There's Powers. LaFall, cross court, Camille LaFall.
She's elevating so high, and I really like seeing the Bears go back to their middles now at this juncture. They've been going to Mia over and over and over, and at this point, I think they need to go back to their middles, establish that, and look at LaFall just elevate there. She's so explosive.
You think Brown needs to get more involved for Cal, don't you?
Actually, I do. I think the fact that she only had 5 sets in the first 2 games is just astounding to me. She's typically carrying the bigger load for the Bears. Usually is the second in kills for this team, and she's only got 1 kill after 2 games.
Yurko the block for Cal, 8-7. Golden Bears leading here in game 3. There is Powers serving for Cal. Low over the net, that's so tough to handle. That ball just squeaks over the top of the net, and the libero, Frederick, couldn't handle it. And a timeout for Nancy Samara and Oregon State. We're gonna take it as well. Cal in game 3, leading Oregon State 9-7, tied at 1. Here on Fox Sports Net. Back at Cal's Haas Pavilion, you look at the 2 stars of the night. Mia Yurko for Cal on the right, Allison Lawrence on your left, and Lawrence has come on the last couple of games. And Ann Watts-Roberts, who had a big game 1, is slowed down a little bit for the Beavers.
I think Cal has clued in to the fact that she's getting a lot of sets for the Beavers, and they're more aware, more ready to block her.
Ashley turn to the dig for Cal. Yurko off the block. It goes wide. Point for the Bears is Egger trying to slow down Yurko. And that's 20 kills for Mia Yurko now.
After 2.5 games, that's just phenomenal. She's such a recruiting coup for this Cal Bear squad. Her just being here, I think, has brought immediate legitimacy to this program and has attracted other players to this program.
Perfect placement from Lawrence trying to answer the Cal superstar. 10-8, Golden Bears, and it's going to be Eggert to serve. Tallest player in this Oregon State team.
And Eggert's got gotten her hands on a lot of balls tonight, just not able to quite get them down into the court.
Yurko off the block, out of bounds. And she gets so high, Lisa. What can you do?
Especially when she goes at that, it's a tight set. She knows all she has is to try and tool the block. And that's perfect execution. That's a play you work on over and over with your hitters. And a lot of them just never get it. She's able to just innately sense where the block is.
And Yurko just dumps it over the net. And it's Cal by 4 here in game 3, 12-8. You get the feeling Cal starting to get it rolling now.
They definitely look a little bit more loose now, more confident. I think withstanding that late rally by the Beavers in the last game has sort of pushed them through, given them the confidence. This is our house. We can play well. We need to do it now.
Just as I say that, Laura Collins for Oregon State with the dunk over the net, 12-9. Cal leading. The set from Carter for Yerkov on the outside. Played on a ball that was probably going out by Collins, and Frederick sends it over. For the back line, played by Ashley Turner for Cal. The set for LaFall off the block. Great dig by Rhodes for Oregon State. Wendell. Carter the set. Here comes Yerkov. The tip off the block, and Cal scores again.
And that can be so defeating after the huge dig from Kara Rhodes. She's so athletic, reaching with all her might to get that play up. Mia Yerkov comes on, deflates them with the little tip shot over the net.
23 kills now for Mia. Yerkov serving. Frederick the dig. The set over the net. There's Watts Roberts, and we call her name finally for the first time in a while. And she has the kill, her 11th of the night, and it's 13-10 now, Cal. And Watts Roberts, who was a huge factor for Oregon State taking game one.
And on that play, I don't even think she expected to get a kill. She got kind of a rough set, tried to just keep it in play, but was able to place it in such a manner that Cal wasn't able to defend it.
Point for the Bears. It's 14-10 here in game three. There's Jenna Brown, who Lisa highlighted, saying that Cal needs to go to her a little bit more, and she has the kill.
Yeah, I think especially given that she's a left-hander, most teams aren't used to seeing lefties out there, and they have a whole different way of placing the ball. The trajectory is different. It's really hard to defend against, especially for the block.
Lawrence keeps it alive. Here is Allison Lawrence, but she misfires into the net. Cal 15, Oregon State 10.
And again, Oregon State can't afford the hitting errors. You know, their game is really defense, tough serving. They're a really well-coached team, trying to get the most out of their players and keep them within what they can do.
Yerkov hits it long, just missing the back line off the set from Carter. And it's 15-11. Abby Wendell will serve for Oregon State.
You talk about the coaching and you know, making the most of what these players have, but I think also just the discipline that Oregon State is displaying in defense. They're always still, they're always deep on their lines when they're supposed to be in perimeter defense. It's just really impressive to see a team sort of communicating and working so well together on the team defense.
Cross court, Abernathy misses. Oregon State within 3. 15-12 California.
I think Abernathy's kind of a terminator. It's either going to be in and a kill or it's going to be out.
All or nothing.
Exactly.
And Eggert can't find it, and it bounces off her forehead. And Cal up 4 again, 16-12. This will be Jenna Brown to serve.
Brown, who actually played with the US A2 team this summer. She was trying out for the libero position after having been the best defensive player on the Cal team last year as a freshman.
Yeah, Brown led this team in digs, was 10th in the Pac-10 last year, but adjusting to the outside this year.
Right, I think she played left side for the most part last year, and now this year they've had her move to the right side, which is actually a more natural position for a left-handed hitter, and she's had much success over there.
This is our first look at Desma Stovall, sophomore from Santa Rosa. And the serve goes into the net. It's 17-13 Cal. Stovall started one match for Oregon State this year.
And Stovall's actually their backup setter, so it's interesting that she's coming in and yet they're sticking with the 5-1 offense, having Laura Collins remaining as a setter. Looks like they brought her in to serve, and unfortunately she missed her serve.
Off the block, Yerkov, Oregon State keeps it alive, and Lawrence fires it toward the back corner. Davis, the set. Powers off the block for Cal. Alicia Powers. Cal up 5, match their largest lead here in game 3.
Powers just having such a solid night. She's able to get around the block, go deep middle. It's tough to defend.
Abernathy with the jump serve. Gets serious force behind that one. There's the set, and long is Caitlin Healy. And Cal, their largest lead here in game 3 at 19-13.
Seems like almost all of Oregon State's errors tonight have been where they've been, going after the hands, hoping for a tool. And when you make those type of attempts, you are going to make some errors, and especially for Cal, sometimes it might be smart for them to actually drop their hands so as not to get in the way of those balls that are going to go out.
But Oregon State is being aggressive. They are going for it, which is something you have to do when you're in their situation.
Exactly.
The set, Powers fires it off the block. Alicia Powers puts Cal up 6, her 9th kill. And Powers serving.
Again, you like to see Cal going back to their middles. They're really efficient so far in this game. They've been getting kills almost every time, so why not use them?
Played by Frederick. Off the block, California tallies. (21-14), and something you talked about, Lisa, Cal's block wasn't there. Well, it's coming on here in game 3. So Cal with a 7-point margin now, and Oregon State wants to talk things over. Nancy Samara and her team down 7 here in game 3. Game 3, Cal with a 7-point lead, their largest, 21-14. This match tied at 1, and the adjustments, Cal really is playing much better defense now after the halftime.
Yeah, and I think the big reason is their block here. You see Mia Yurkov step in and actually help out on the middle blocker. She's the setter's front row, so she doesn't have another hitter to worry about, and so she's trying to be active and commit on any good passes for Oregon State.
Powers serving for Cal, they're up 7. And a service error into the net. Just what Oregon State needed.
Good timeout.
21-15. Cal leads, and Nancy Samara for Oregon State sends in Taylor Studzinski to serve. There is the freshman. His sister Jordan is an outside hitter at Illinois Chicago. Played by Ashley Turner for Cal. Carter sets up LaFall, and she finds the hardwood with it.
You know, what's so impressive about her connection with LaFall and Powers is the fact that she's able to set that back slide from anywhere on the court. You saw there she was moved sort of closer to the antenna than usual, but it's a location set. It's supposed to always go to the same place every time, regardless of where the setter is, as opposed to being a distance set.
Collins is set, the block at the net from Cal. Carter, ground. Here comes Turner off the block, played by Frederick. Collins sets. Over the net, Watts Roberts, the dig from Jenna Brown for Cal. Yurkov takes the set and rockets it down into the corner.
And there you see an adjustment that Cal has made. You see Jenna Brown going all out for that roll shot. That's a shot they hadn't been picking up in the first 2 games. Yurkov with a quick arm swing down the line.
Cal by 8. Collins is set. Lawrence off the block for Oregon State. 23-16, 13 kills now for Allison Lawrence.
Lawrence taking advantage of Camille LaFall's left hand not being quite over the net as far as it can be. That's sort of one of the big downfalls of a middle blocker can make, is to not quite penetrate that left hand.
Off the block. Yurkov still tallies for Cal as Oregon State can't handle it. And Cal matches their largest lead here in game 3 at 8, 24-16. It's going to be Yurkov to serve for Cal.
And in rally score, this is almost an insurmountable lead. It's just, there's not enough time for Oregon State to come back.
Watts Roberts. Cal keeps it alive. Yerko from the back. The dig. And Rhodes too much on it. And kill number 25 from Mia Yerko tallies point number 25 here in game 3 for Cal. 9-point lead.
I think Oregon State here has got to really be thinking about what adjustments they can make in game 4 to pull out a win. They're obviously not quite cutting it here. They need to get some momentum going into that next game.
And there's Watts Roberts trying to start it for the Beavers. Off the block, out of bounds. You look at Nancy Samara, the coach for Oregon State, wondering, what do I got to do here to get my team going for game 4?
She's talking to her hitters and she's telling them to be a little bit, her blockers, to be away of Yerkov in the back row.
Watts Roberts, the set, and the kill from Kara Rhodes.
Rhodes, such a phenomenal athlete. She gets in there so quick and finds the seam. You know, Rhodes was a state champion in the long jump and the 100-meter dash in high school.
Brown off the block. Abernathy at the net with the spike. Gabrielle Abernathy, 26-18, California. And that's, you know, you look at this conference in the Open League, so we talked about how strong this league is. 7 teams have a good chance to get into the postseason, and that's what makes this conference so tough to become the NCAA tournament, is because throughout the 18-game slate, or 18-match slate of the regular season, they're tested every night. So these teams will be battle-tested, battle-ready for the tournament.
They will, and I think that is actually the biggest advantage. You may have more losses than some of the other teams coming into the tournaments, but the NCAA committee recognizes the fact that this conference is tougher than anyone else, and they know they take those losses with a grain of salt as opposed to some of the non-conference losses that these teams would have, and so it's important for teams like Oregon State to really make a difference in their preseason and non-conference matches.
Impressive block there from the freshman Wendell on Yerko. 27-19 Cal, and there's Wendell serving. Collins, or rather Carter the set, the block for Oregon State, and Cal can't keep it alive. So Oregon State trying to hang in game 3, but also trying to get some momentum for game 4. 27-20 California. Wendell misses the serve wide. 28-20. It'll be Jenna Brown serving for Cal.
Yeah, and that's just a mistake you can't make in that situation. You need to give your team a chance to play some defense.
Ooh, there's an impressive spike from Watts Roberts, who got up over on the right side in the front. She hammered it down.
She is a really physical player. I mean, not only does she jump well, but you can see her guns there. I mean, she's able to really put that ball away with some authority.
Bowers, Abernathy over the net, Oregon State mishandles. And it's game point here in game 3 for Cal. 29-21 Bears.
And that's an uncharacteristic mistake for the Oregon State defense there. They've been communicating so well together.
And the ace from Abernathy as the Bears take game 3. 30-21, they lead Oregon State 2-1, going to game number 4 here at Haas Pavilion. And the ace from Gabrielle Abernathy. That one had some mustard on. So Cal 2, Oregon State 1. We're going to game 4 at Haas Pavilion. Pac-10 women's volleyball on Fox Sports Net.